I do think the Fever are in that top 4 with Caitlin Clark in the lineup, which goes to show you the impact she has individually. I've beaten a dead horse, or the drum that I've already been beaten, about her value. But I think we've seen the Fever's performance with her versus the Fever's performance without her.
You sat through those games, the kind that barely made the highlight reels, where the crowd felt like background noise and the scoreboard told the same story night after night. Another loss, another footnote in a league that had long since passed them by. The Indiana Fever, a team more synonymous with rebuild than relevance. For 2 straight seasons, they lived in the shadow of everyone else's spotlight. 5 wins in 2022.
We've seen the Liberty play the same Sun team that the Fever just lost to, and seen the results there. Again, other things come into play, like losing Colson and Cunningham in the midst of the game, or just, some games are better than others, these various factors. Regardless, none of that changes how good the Liberty look to start the season. And they've got a vibe going on in Brooklyn. I said this last year when I was at the Barclays Center. They're cultivating a fan base, cultivating something cool.
9 in 2023. The only noise they made was in draft lotteries, where hope is sold in the form of ping pong balls and promises. There was no narrative arc, no late season rally, no buzzer beating magic, just empty seats and unanswered questions. Even the league seemed to move on, focusing its lens elsewhere. On the Aces' dominance, on the Liberty's new super team, on rivalries that didn't involve them. Indiana wasn't just losing, they were forgotten. And then the camera panned to a name you already knew, a name that didn't just break records, that it broke the algorithm. Caitlin Clark. The moment she declared, the narrative thread began to tighten.
Like, since Caitlin Clark's injury 72 hours ago, the WNBA has lost over 30 million Instagram followers.
Yeah, I love that.
And people were just like, what the fuck? This is bullshit. It is a fox in the hen house. They're not ready for it.
But before the storm, there was silence. Before the spotlight, there was static. You have to remember that silence, because only then do you understand what it means when a team that nobody noticed starts making everyone look. This is where the story begins. Not with her first shot, but with all the missed ones before her. The Fever weren't just waiting on talent, they were waiting on meaning. And sometimes a whole franchise can change because of just one name, but not yet. Not quite. First, we need to see what happens when the storm starts brewing. Let's keep going. You didn't just watch her walk onto the court. You felt it, like a frequency shift, like static turning to signal, the kind of arrival that doesn't ask permission. It demands attention. Caitlin Clark didn't just join the WNBA. She entered like a broadcast tower, and suddenly everyone was tuned in. Opening night wasn't about who the Fever were playing. It was about her. Sold out arenas in cities that hadn't cared in years. Jerseys flying off shelves before she'd played a minute. From Iowa's Golden Girl to Indiana's Golden Ticket, the most anticipated rookie debut in league history. Wasn't just hype, it was transformation. The WNBA had seen stars before, but this was different. This was a movement disguised as a jump shot. You saw the cameras, triple the usual. You noticed the mic'd up sidelines, the mic'd up moments. This wasn't just about basketball anymore. It was about broadcast numbers, sponsorship spikes, and a generation that had finally found a face they wanted to follow. But you also felt the weight. Because with every camera flash came another expectation. With every cheer, another target on her back. With every headline, a growing whisper. Can she actually do it here? Because in the W, hype doesn't hand you wins. Respect is earned in bruises, not brand deals. And still, she suited up. She stepped into a league where rookies are rarely coddled and never crowned. But she didn't blink. Because for Caitlin, this wasn't just a debut, it was a declaration. You weren't watching the start of a season, you were watching the start of something seismic, something that would rattle the walls of tradition and make the whole league ask, what happens when the story becomes real? Let's find out. You learned quickly. This league doesn't do fairy tales. There's no gentle welcome, no rookie ribbon cutting ceremony, just hard screens, no calls, and veterans who have been clawing for visibility long before hashtags ever helped. Caitlin Clark wasn't handed a runway. She was thrown into turbulence. From the very first possession, you saw it. The physicality, the pressure, the unspoken rule. If you're going to get all the attention, you better be ready to earn every second of it. Against Connecticut, turnovers, defensive traps, pockets collapsing before she could breathe. Against Washington, double teams, dead legs, moments where the rim felt like it was shrinking. You watched her fight, not just the defense, but the weight of the discourse. Every missed shot sparked a tweet. Every quiet quarter became a debate. And still, the veterans didn't flinch. They didn't bend the rules for the prodigy. Why would they? This is the WNBA, a league built by women who never had the luxury of hype. Women who played through obscurity, fought for pay equity, who built this platform brick by brick without trending topics. So when the spotlight shifted overnight to a rookie with a signature shoe before she had a professional stat line, you could feel it, the tension, the resentment, the unspoken challenge. You want to lead this league? Prove you belong in it. There were no apologies, no soft landings, and for every time Caitlin hit the floor, the message was loud. Welcome to the W. This league doesn't care who you were in college. This is a new ecosystem. And evolution. It's never gentle, but you kept watching because the question wasn't just, can she survive this? It was, what will she become? Because of it, keep watching, because this next chapter, it's where things start to shift. You can measure value in points, in assists, in minutes played, but sometimes you measure it in silence, in what's missing when someone's gone. The Indiana Fever are not the same team when Caitlin Clark is off the floor. And no, that's not fan fiction. That's film. That's possession after possession, where movement slows, energy dips, and the court suddenly looks 3 sizes smaller. When she plays, there's gravity, not the poetic kind, the basketball kind. She pulls defenders out of position. She spaces the floor just by existing. She makes the impossible pass look ordinary, and the ordinary players look elevated. With her on the court against New York, they were in it, punch for punch. With her leading the charge against Atlanta, they moved like a unit, like something was clicking into place. Finally, but take her away, like in those matchups against Connecticut or the Mystics, and the whole structure trembles. Turnover spike, ball movement dies. Suddenly the Fever are a team of individuals instead of a team with identity. You feel it in the flow, you see it in the spacing, you hear it in the crowd, like the room itself forgets to breathe. Because this isn't just about numbers, it's about meaning. She brings context to every possession, urgency to every play, and yes, she's still figuring it out, still adjusting to traps, to the speed, to the strength, but even in her rookie mistakes, she gives the Fever something they didn't have before, a future that feels like it's arriving early. Without her, Indiana looks like yesterday. With her, they flirt with tomorrow. And that's not just a compliment, it's a warning to the rest of the league. Because if this is what they look like now, what happens when she fully arrives? Stay close. This story's about to heat up. You've seen it coming. Not in slow motion, but in slow build. A quiet rumble between worlds. And now, the collision is loud. Because Caitlin Clark didn't just bring skill, she brought style, logo, threes, no-look passes that barely contained swagger. The kind that sold out arenas before she'd even played a quarter. But the WNBA, it's not a highlight reel. It's a culture, one built on grit, physicality, and veterans who've bled on hardwood courts just to get a fraction of the spotlight she inherited. And so, it was inevitable. This wasn't just generational tension, it was philosophical. Caitlin plays like a creator, fast, fluid, improvisational, but the league she stepped into, it hits back, hard. You saw it in the body checks, in the stares, in the subtle bumps after the whistle. Not always dirty, but always deliberate, because to some of these players, she represents more than a rookie. She's the face of a system that finally decided to care when she showed up. And that sting, it's real. It's in the pushbacks, the pressers, the post-game silence. It's in the way they guard her tighter than anyone else. In the way every foul feels like punctuation, like they're writing their own narrative, one possession at a time. We were here before you, and we're not moving. You feel the culture war every time she steps on the floor. Modern hype versus long-earned respect, and neither side is backing down. But this isn't just conflict for drama's sake. It's the kind of friction that forces evolution, the kind that changes leagues, that sharpens players, that forges legacy. You're not just watching Caitlin get tested, you're watching the WNBA decide what it wants to become. And that answer, it's still being written, one hard foul at a time. At first glance, it's just basketball, a rookie learning the ropes, a team finding its rhythm, stats, wins, losses, nothing viral about that. But look again, because something deeper is moving beneath the surface. You felt it the moment Caitlyn hit that first logo 3. The way the crowd rose, not like a celebration, but like a realization. This wasn't just another #1 pick. This was a moment, a mirror of where the league is now and where it's about to go. The Fever aren't just trying to win games. They're carrying something bigger, expectation from fans, from haters, from a world that suddenly, finally started paying attention. And Caitlyn, she's no longer just a player. She's a prism through which every conversation about equity, visibility, race, marketing, legacy is now being refracted. Just scroll Twitter and it's not just highlights, it's debates, it's think pieces, it's she doesn't deserve the hate versus she hasn't earned the praise. It's meme threads and podcast beef and Reddit wars over what the W should be. And somewhere in the middle of all that noise, there's a game still being played, a team still trying to figure it out, a player still showing up, getting knocked down, getting back up, and still hitting step backs like none of it matters. But it does. You know it does, because you've seen the shift. You can't unsee it. This isn't just about Caitlyn Clark. It never was. It's about the tension between the old and the new, between built and bought, between the league the world ignored, and the league it's now obsessed with. And as all eyes zero in, you're left wondering, what happens when the moment becomes the movement? Keep watching, because the answer is already unfolding. One possession at a time. Maybe you didn't know you were watching history. Maybe it just felt like another game. But somewhere between that first sold-out crowd and the echo of a logo 3, something changed. You felt it, even if you couldn't name it. Even if you don't follow box scores or standings or rookie shooting percentages, you felt the shift, because the WNBA isn't just catching fire. It's burning through decades of indifference. And Caitlyn Clark, she didn't light the match, but she showed the world where to look. The Fever still lose games. She still makes rookie mistakes. And the league, it's still wrestling with who gets spotlighted and who gets sidelined. But this isn't just about wins anymore. This is about relevance, about redefinition, about what happens when the story you were told suddenly flips the page, and a new voice starts writing. You don't need to agree with all of it. You don't need to stand Caitlyn or shade her critics. But if you felt that ripple, if you noticed the conversation shifting, the cameras panning, the tweets turning into culture, then you already know this is bigger than a player. It's bigger than the Fever. It's the sound of a league stepping into the storm. And not backing down. And if you made it this far, you're not just a viewer. You're a witness. So if you felt that shift, comment. I saw it happen too. Your words are part of the story now, and trust me, and this story's only just getting started. You thought it would come later, after the rookie jitters faded, after the team chemistry clicked, after the noise quieted down. But storms don't wait for permission. They break through ceilings, they disrupt plans, and they leave you either shaken or sharpened. Caitlyn Clark walked into the WNBA with a spotlight, so bright it burned shadows behind her. But what she's learning, and what we're watching in real time, is that legacy isn't made by flash. It's made by how you move through fire. Every missed layup, every hard foul, every side-eye from a vet who's fought twice as long for half the attention. It's all part of it, part of the crucible, part of the weight she didn't choose, but has to carry anyway. And the league, it's no longer in the background. It's the battleground, where narratives clash, where old guard meets new wave, where fans don't just watch, they vote with. Every post, every view, every seat filled. So no, this isn't about whether she's the best rookie, or if the Fever make the playoffs, or what's trending on ESPN this week. This is about pressure and presence, and the power of showing up even when the room doesn't want you there. The storm isn't coming, it's already here, and the ones who survive it, they don't just play the game, they change it.